Leishmaniasis, the parasite that turns a killer cell into its home. Imagine you're walking through a tropical village at sunset. A tiny insect lands on your skin, you hardly notice it. It takes a blood meal and flies away. But what you don't know is that this tiny sandfly may have just delivered a dangerous passenger into your body. That passenger is Leishmania, a microscopic protozoan parasite responsible for a disease called Leishmaniasis. Now the real story begins. The infected female sandfly injects the promastigote form of Leishmania into the skin while feeding. The body's immune system immediately recognizes something foreign. Soon, macrophages, the professional eating cells of our immune system, arrive at the site. The macrophage sees the parasite and thinks, "This is my prey." It engulfs the parasite, but Leishmania has a remarkable survival strategy. Instead of being destroyed, the parasite transforms. The elongated flagellated promastigote changes into a small round or oval form called omastigote. And where does it live? Inside the macrophage itself. The very cell that was supposed to destroy the parasite has now become its home. Inside the macrophage, the omastigote multiplies by binary fission. As more and more parasites are produced, the infected cells eventually breaks down, releasing parasites that infect new macrophages, and the cycle continues. But the story doesn't end inside the human body. When another female sandfly takes a blood meal from an infected person, it picks up these amastigotes inside the sandfly, then transform once again into promastigotes. They multiply, develop, and eventually reach the insect's mouth part. Then the sandfly bites another person, and the cycle begins again. So remember the simple journey: sandfly to promastigote, promastigote to macrophage, macrophage to omastigote, and then to sandfly again. But why does the same parasite cause different diseases? That depends on where the parasite establishes itself and on the infecting species. In cutaneous leishmaniasis, the battle remains mainly in the skin. A small lesion may gradually develop into an ulcer, sometimes leaving a permanent scar. In mucocutaneous leishmaniasis, the infection can extend to the mucous membranes of the nose, mouth, and throat. Potentially, it may cause severe tissue destruction. But the most dangerous form is visceral leishmaniasis, and it is also known as azar. Here, the parasite spreads to organs rich in cells of the mononuclear phagocytic system, particularly the spleen, liver, and bone marrow. The patient may develop prolonged fever, weight loss, weakness, anemia, and massive enlargement of spleen and liver. So, if cutaneous leishmaniasis is a battle on the surface, visceral leishmaniasis is a battle happening deep inside the body. Now comes another fascinating clue for microbiologists. When we look at an infected macrophage under the microscope, we may see tiny intracellular bodies containing a nucleus and a kinetoplast. These are the omastigotes, historically known as Lisman-Donovan bodies. And that tiny kinetoplast gives us an important clue. It tells us that we are dealing with kinetoplastic parasite. Diagnosis may involve microscopy, molecular techniques such as PCR, or appropriate serological test, particularly in visceral disease. Treatment depends on the species, geographical region, clinical form, and severity. Drugs such as liposomal amphotericin B, miltefosine, pentavalent antimonials, and paramomycin may be used in appropriate situations. But perhaps the most important lesson is prevention. There is no need to fight a parasite after it enters the body if we can reduce the chance of the sandfly delivering it in the first place. So, insect repellents, protective clothing, insecticide treated bed nets, screened rooms, and appropriate vector control measures can all help reduce transmission. Now, if you remember only one sentence from today's lecture, remember this: Leishmania is a parasite carried by sandfly, transmitted as a promastigote, transformed into an omastigote inside macrophages, and capable of causing disease ranging from a skin ulcer to a life threatening visceral infection. A tiny insect, a microscopic parasite, a powerful survival strategy, and a remarkable example of how pathogen can turn the body's own defense cells into its safest hiding place.